Part 1. You will hear a conversation between a man and an employee of a bank, talking about getting a loan. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6. Listen carefully to the discussion and answer questions 1 to 6.
Standard Chartered Bank, Customer Services. Can I help you?
Hello. I need to speak to someone about getting a revolving time loan.
Yes. Perhaps I can help you. Do you have any relationship with us, sir?
Yes. My name is Henry Matthew.
Sorry, sir. Your surname is?
Oh. Matthew. But my full name is Henry Matthew Silver.
Can I have your account number, please?
Yes, it's 7341-5856.
That's fine. Now I need to confirm some details for security reasons. What's your address?
It's 31, Hamilton Park, that's in Liverpool. The postcode is SG 5879.
And your telephone number?
017856809.
Can you tell me your date of birth, Mr. Matthew?
Yes, it's the 25th of June 1987.
Thank you. Now, there are some gaps in your file here. I don't seem to have an address for you at work.
No, when I opened the account in your bank, I didn't have a job, but I do now. I work for Best Tex Corporation, that's in Birmingham. The address is 15 Park Road, Birmingham.
All right, okay. How long have you been there, Mr. Matthew?
I started in 2007, no. 2003.
Okay. That's fine. And how much is your salary?
Well, I'm not sure exactly. But it's about £13,000.
Before the end of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 7 to 10. Listen carefully and answer questions 7 to 10.
Now, you would like to get a credit facility for the revolving time loan. Do you have any other major debts?
What would you mean?
Well, are you giving any security for the credit facility?
Yes. The mortgage of my house.
How much is that every month?
It's about £750.
I see. Have any credit cards or store cards?
Yes. I have 2 credit cards and a debit card.
Do you have any personal loans or hire purchase agreements?
None whatsoever.
Right. Well, the loan shouldn't be a problem. I can set it up for you in the morning. I've set you a limit at £500, although you can raise this to £600. If you're still having problems, just give us a ring if you need to.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye, sir.
That is the end of part 1. You will have half a minute to check your answers. Now, turn to Part 2. Part 2. You will hear a conversation between two residences of a country, William and Olivia, about the candidates for city corporation election. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Listen carefully to the conversation and answer questions 11 to 15.
Hi Olivia. Have you voted yet?
Hello, William. What did you say?
Have you voted yet? You know, in the city corporation elections.
Well, no, they've only just released the names of the final candidates.
The first round elections were only held last week, but I voted already.
Yes, but that's the first round. You know how this works, don't you?
Well, not exactly. I thought you just voted.
It's pretty simple, but it's made more complicated because this election has 14 unions, not just one. Each union can have many candidates for each post. These are reduced to a rational number. Then the actual voting takes place.
So, what did I vote for last week?
That was the first round. As I said, you voted for the candidates for Downing Street Union. That's all. There are also candidates from the other 14 unions.
Oh, I see.
Well, there are 5 positions to apply for in the city corporation. Each union sends one candidate on to the second round.
It's 13 candidates. It's quite a lot.
It isn't when you think there is 19,000 residents at this union.
No, I suppose not. Can they all vote?
Yes, permanent and temporary residents everyone, but most don't. Only about 50% of those eligible to concerned. And the casting was about 70% last year.
Before the end of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Listen carefully and answer questions 16 to 20.
So, who are the candidates from our union?
There was a leaflet about it this week. Some of the residences stood as candidates for several posts before the final ones were selected. I think Benjamin is standing for city manager. He wanted to be the finance director. But Lucas got that post.
He seems more suited to working for a local residence. By the way, what about Lucas? I heard he has a good command of economics. He has so much experience.
Maybe. I don't think he chooses the right kind of group of people. He's not my choice.
Who's the candidate to be police chief?
A knowledgeable and honest person having experience in this field. He seems to be quite capable.
Do you think so? He never mixes with the public.
Oh, there are 30 different nationalities here. So she'd need to be more sociable. Perhaps Noah would have been a better choice.
Yes, I think so. Who did you say was planning director? Noah? He does accountancy. So, he should be able to cope with the post. He is responsible for a lot of money.
I've always thought he was reliable.
Okay. Yes. You're probably right. Who's the other person on the list?
It's John.
Oh, Mackay, he's quite a character. What position is he standing for?
He wants to be the economic development director, the person who lets the teaching staff know about any problems the residents might have. He's such a friendly person. He'd be a great communicator?
Yes. He's articulate and well organized, but he wouldn't be my first choice. Anyway, they're only the candidates from Union. Next week, we'll have to wait for the election results to see what gets each post.
Yes. We can discuss this again.
That is the end of part 2. You will have half a minute to check your answers. Now, turn to Part 3. Part 3. You will hear a conversation between a professor and a student. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 27. Listen carefully to the conversation and answer questions 21 to 27.
Excuse me. Dr. Milton. Do you have time to have a quick word with me?
Of course. Please come in.
Thanks. I'm Ella Harry, I'm taking your course in accounting.
Okay. And how can I help you?
To be honest, I'm having difficulty with the second assignment that's due on Wednesday.
What sort of trouble are you having? Is the assignment question posing a problem for you?
Well, that's part of the problem, but I'm also having trouble getting hold of the books. I've been to the library several times and all the books are lent out.
Right, well, it sounds like you should have started borrowing books a bit earlier.
Well, I had a really important assignment to complete for another course, and I've been spending all my time on that. So, I was wondering whether I might be able to get an extension and hand in your assignment at the end of the week instead.
I see. Well, yes, it is possible, but extensions are normally given only for medical or compassionate reasons. Otherwise, it's really a question of organizing your study time better. We don't like giving extensions to students who simply didn't plan their workload properly. What did you get for your first assignment?
I got 86%.
Yes, you did very well indeed, so obviously you can produce good work when you plan properly.
I don't think I'll need too much extra time, as long as I can get hold of some of the important references.
Okay, well, since you did so well in your first assignment, I'm prepared to give you an extra 2 days for this one, so that'll mean you'll need to submit it on Friday at 9 a.m. rather than on Wednesday.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Now, what about the reading materials? Have you checked out the journal articles on the list?
No, not yet. There were about 15 of them and I wasn't sure which ones would be the most useful or important.
Well, they're all useful, but I don't expect anyone to read all, because a number of them deal with the same issues. Let me give you some suggestions. The article by George and Thomas is really worth reading.
Right, I'll read that one.
You should also read the article by Miles, but just look at the part in the research methodology that explains how they did it.
Okay, Miles, got that.
And if you have time, the one by William says very relevant things, although it's not essential. Perhaps just read the introduction to get an overview.
And what about the one by Oscar?
Yeah, I wouldn't bother with that at this stage if I were you.
Okay, I'll leave that one for now. Someone told me the article by John is important. Should I read that?
Well, yes, in a way it is important, but just look at the last part where he discusses the research results. Let's see. Lastly, there's Eleanor. I can't think why I included that one on the reading list. It could be of some help, but not that much.
Before the end of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 28 to 30. Listen carefully and answer questions 28 to 30.
Right, thanks, this is helpful advice. Can I also ask about the assignment?
Of course. What's the problem there?
The graph on page 3 shows why people shop at the particular city market. I've got a photocopy, but the reasons at the bottom are missing.
Okay. Look at the bar of category 1 on the graph. So, now that indicates the number of people who shop in a particular city market, because it's close to their home. As you can see, that's the most frequent reason given.
I see. What about the next bar?
Category 2 is to do with the people choosing city market near their office or wherever they work. So, that's people who shop during their lunch break or after work. Now, let's look at category 3. This one indicates the number of people who are influenced by the availability of certain products. Sometimes it's luxury items or brands from a particular country that attract people. But equally, it can be city market-owned brands that are sold for the lowest prices. Category 4 refers to those customers who choose their city market according to the cost of their shopping bill. So again, it could include shoppers looking for bargain prices but also those who shop at the top end of the range.
Okay, now what about category 5?
Category 5 shows those people who make their choice based on home delivery options being available. Most of the big city market offer that option now.
Oh, that's interesting. I would have thought that would be important to more people than it is.
Okay, and category 6 is the number of people who choose a city market due to the hours its stores are open. Many people prefer to shop at weekends or later in the evening these days.
Thank you very much for your time. That was really helpful.
That is the end of part 3. You will have half a minute to check your answers. Now, turn to part 4. Part 4. You will hear a lecture discussing the mobile telephony turned into a health scare. First, you will have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Hello everyone. Welcome to this morning's lecture on the subject of how mobile telephony turned into a health scare. This is most important in a series of lectures organized for the university. I'm Sophie, and I'm a scientist with a particular interest in this initiative to mobile phones. The technology, which enabled mobile phones, was previously used in the kind of two-way radio, which could be found in taxis and emergency vehicles. Although this was a great development, it was not really considered mobile telephone because it could not be used to dial into existing phone networks. It was known as simplex technology, operating on the same principles as a walkie-talkie, which required that a user press a button, meaning that only one person at a time could talk. Simplex meant that there was only one communication frequency in use at any one time. The first mobile phones, to connect to telephone networks, were often installed in cars, before the handheld version came on the market and the revolution in mobile technology began. The first generation of mobile phones, called 1G, was large, heavy, and analog, and it was not until the invention of the second generation, 2G, in the 1990s, that digital networks could be used. The digital element enabled faster signaling. At the same time, developments in battery design and energy-saving electronics allowed the phones themselves to become smaller and therefore more truly mobile. The second generation allowed for text messaging too, and this began with the first person-to-person text message in Finland in 1993, although a machine-generated text message had been successfully sent 2 years earlier. None of this would have been possible without the development of duplex technology to replace the relatively primitive simplex technology of the first phase of mobile communication. In duplex technology, there are 2 frequencies available simultaneously. These 2 frequencies can be obtained by the principle of frequency division duplex. To send 2 signals wirelessly, it is necessary to create a paired spectrum, where one band carries the uplink from phone to antenna, and the other carries the downlink from the antenna to phone. Time division duplex can achieve the same thing, but instead of splitting the frequency, the uplink and downlink are switched very rapidly, giving the impression that one frequency is used. For mobile telephony, to work to its fullest potential, it needs to have a network through which it can relay signals. This network depends on base stations that send and receive the signals. The base stations tend to be simple constructions, or masts, on top of which are mounted antennas. With the rapid increase in demand for mobile services, the infrastructure of antennas in the United Kingdom is now huge. Many thousands of reports have appeared claiming that the signals relayed by these antennas are harmful to human and animal health. The claims focus on the fact that the antennas are transmitting radio waves in microwave form. In some ways, public demand is responsible for the increase in the alleged threat to health. Until quite recently, voice and text messages were transmitted using 2G technology. A 2G mast can send a low-frequency microwave signal approximately 35 kilometers. Third generation, 3G, technology allows users to wirelessly download information from the internet and is extremely popular. The difference is that 3G technology uses a higher frequency to carry the signals, allowing masts to emit more radiation. Government authorities have so far refused to accept that there is a danger to public health, and tests carried out by governments and telecommunications companies have been restricted to testing to see if heat is being produced from these microwaves. According to many, however, the problem is not heat, but electromagnetic waves which are found near the masts. It is believed that some people, though not all, have a condition known as electrosensitivity of electrohypersensitivity, meaning that electromagnetism makes them ill in some way. The actual health threat from these pulsed microwave signals is an area that greatly needs more research. It has been claimed that the signals affect all living organisms, including plants, at a cellular level, and cause symptoms in people ranging from tiredness and headaches to cancer. Of particular concern is the effect that increased electromagnetic fields may have on children, and the fear is that the negative effects on their health may not manifest themselves until they have had many years of continued exposure to high levels. Tests carried out on animals living close to this form of radiation is particularly useful because scientists can rule out the psychological effect that humans might be exhibiting due to their fear of possible contamination. Of course, the danger of exposure exists when using a mobile phone, but since we do this for limited periods, between which it is believed our bodies can recover, it is not considered as serious as the effect of living or working near a mast sometimes mounted on the very building we occupy, which is transmitting electromagnetic waves 24 hours a day.
That is the end of part 4. Now you have some time to check your answer. In your real test, you will get additional 10 minutes to transfer your answer to your answer sheet.